I've been using book-style foldables for years, and I think that Apple is about to turn the industry on its head. Clearly, Samsung agrees, as they're launching a second foldable to compete specifically with the brand new folding iPhone, just like a certain thin phone from last year. But the more I've been thinking about these wider book-style foldables, including as I was writing this script, I think that Apple may actually be introducing a paradigm shift in the book-style foldable. To explain why, we need to take a look at what makes Apple's foldable different and what those differences will translate to in actual use. And don't worry, we'll get to the title, I promise. The rumored design for what we now think will be called the iPhone Ultra is radically different from other foldables like my Fold 7. With the exception of the original Pixel Fold, every foldable sold here in the US has followed the same formula. Tall and skinny cover display, square inner display. Now this design does make sense because the cover display still feels like a normal slab phone, especially when you start looking at the newer phones like the Fold 7 and the Oppo Find N6. On the inner display, split screen multitasking makes great use of the square aspect ratio because each app is roughly the same size as a slab phone. They're also a great canvas for spreadsheets or video calls on the productivity side. But there's a big problem with the square aspect ratio display. Basically, every other display that we use, from slab phones to TVs to laptops and computer monitors, are widescreen. That means that a good bit of the content that you're going to want to use your giant display for is not going to be optimized for the aspect ratio. This is most notable when you're watching video. You end up with massive letterboxing with black bars on the top and bottom where the actual video space is only marginally better than a slab phone. There's also no portrait orientation on the inner display, so apps that typically run in portrait like Instagram or Twitter are either going to have a bunch of dead space on the sides or they're going to just be a stretched out wider version of the normal app. The iPhone Ultra ditches the familiar slab style cover display to be laser focused on the inner screen experience. And personally, I think that this is the right move. If you're paying $2,000 because your phone can fold open for a giant inner display, you want the focus to be on that giant inner display. Rather than the square aspect ratio of the current foldables that are on the market, the iPhone Ultra will use a 4:3 aspect ratio, which is much more similar to an iPad. This is going to solve that widescreen compatibility issue, especially for video. Despite having a 10% smaller screen, the iPhone Ultra will have 15% more usable video space than the Fold 7. But maybe even more interesting to me is that there will be a distinct portrait orientation. This means that instead of just being stretched out or having dead space, those portrait style apps like Instagram and Twitter are going to be the same experience you're used to, just bigger. And portrait mode is going to make typing on the inner display so much easier. Now when I set out to make this video, this is where I was going to talk about the negative of the cover display being so small. But after thinking about it a little bit more and holding my nifty little paper cutout, I actually think that this is going to be a strength. You see, I think that this is actually going to be an iPhone mini that people will want to use. I liked the idea of the iPhone mini, but it was so cramped for somebody with big thumbs like me to type on the keyboard because it was so narrow. But the iPhone Ultra, while it's about 10 millimeters shorter than an iPhone mini, is about 20 millimeters wider. That means that the screen is not going to be cramped whenever you're typing, which really eliminates the biggest problem that I had with the iPhone mini. But you may be thinking there was another big problem with the iPhone mini. Its tiny battery. But don't worry, the iPhone Ultra has you covered there as well, because it's rumored to have the largest battery ever put in an iPhone at 5,500 milliamp hours. And I personally think that this cover display style fits the book style foldable perfectly. On my Fold 7, which has a 6.5-inch cover display, if I'm gonna watch a video or read an article, I'm going to open up the display anyway. The cover display, whether it's 6.5 inches or 5.5 inches, is really only there for short little bursty tasks like texting or checking the weather. So as long as it can do that, which I think that this design easily will, I think that this is really the move when it comes to book style foldables, especially because it enables a much better inner display experience. Now, even though I changed my mind about the cover screen being a disadvantage, there are still some cons that we need to talk about. The biggest one in my mind is standing the phone up. You're not going to want to hold the phone unfolded for the entire length of a TV show, but because of the way the screen is laid out, a MagSafe stand like a pop socket or this UAG ring is not going to work, and that's if Apple includes MagSafe at all. Because the MagSafe magnets can't be put in the middle of the phone, which is where you'll need it on a wider phone like this, you're going to be left using a kickstand that's built into a case, which in my experience is not very reliable. With a phone this big, if it's off the center of mass by even a tiny little bit, it's going to be very unstable. Now, square foldables can become their own stand by folding it in half, and theoretically the iPhone Ultra should be able to do the same thing, but I worry with the 4:3 aspect ratio that the video is going to be quite small if you've got it folded in half. Another thing I'm thinking of is split screen multitasking, again assuming that Apple includes it. The main thing that I use split screen multitasking for on my Fold 7 is making a shopping list while looking at recipes on the other side. Now, each one of these apps is going to have a very tall aspect ratio, which is great for looking at vertical content like recipes and lists. On the iPhone Ultra, each app is going to be much shorter and wider, which is not so great for what I typically use split screen multitasking for. The shortness of the display when it's in landscape is also going to make the keyboard much more dominant on the screen than it is on a square foldable. And speaking of the keyboard, typing in landscape is going to be a real challenge, especially for somebody like me who can't use a split keyboard to save his life. But ultimately, the success of the iPhone Ultra is going to come down to software. This phone can't just use iOS on a larger canvas. When the phone is unfolded, it needs to have some sort of iPadOS style experience to really take advantage of the form factor. At the very least, this phone needs split screen multitasking, and personally I think that slide over would also be a great feature to include on this phone. It's also going to need all the features that we've come to expect on Android foldables, like being able to half fold to become a tripod or a stand for video. Now, Apple does have an advantage here because apps written in Swift can natively scale to any screen size, and iPad apps should work just fine because they share the aspect ratio. But I also really hope that we get some bespoke experiences just for foldables, which is something that we haven't always gotten on Android. Maybe Apple has the juice to kind of push their developers to try out new things for foldables. Look, whether this phone is a revelation in foldables or the Vision Pro 2.0, it is going to dominate the conversation when it's released. It's going to be the most expensive iPhone ever, and it's going to be the first time that the iPhone experience has fundamentally changed since the iPhone 10. But I think that if people give it a chance, this form factor is really going to take them by surprise. Those of us in the tech community hear all the time that people want smaller phones, and this has the chance to be the ultimate pocketable phone with an iPad hiding inside. Personally, I cannot wait to get my hands on this, and I will absolutely be posting a review once I have one, so make sure you get subscribed for that. Thank you so much for watching, and I will catch you next time.